This is Tuesday, December. Oh my gosh, December.
I know.
It's almost over.
Middle of December.
It's amazing how fast this year has gone. Anyways, December 13th, 2022, meeting of the Berlin Planning Board. As a preliminary matter, please note this meeting is being recorded and that some of the attendees are participating by video conference. Accordingly, please be aware that other folks may be able to see you. Take care not to screen share your computer. Anything that you broadcast will be captured and recorded forever and ever. This is Tom Sanford, Chair of the Planning Board. Permit me to confirm that all members are present and can hear me prior to me calling the meeting to order. Members, when I call your name, please respond in the affirmative. Jay Teach.
Aye.
Tim Wheeler.
Aye.
Carolyn McDonald.
Aye.
Thomas Andrew.
Aye.
Excellent. With a quorum of the board present, I call this meeting to order at 7:31 p.m. on Tuesday, December 13th, 2022. This is an open meeting of the planning board and is being conducted remotely, consistent with Governor Baker's executive order of March 12th, 2020, due to the current state of emergency in the Commonwealth of Massachusetts due to the outbreak of the COVID-19 virus. Specific information and general guidelines for the remote participation by members of the public and or parties with a right and or requirement to attend this meeting can be found in the Town of Berlin website. The governor's order suspends the requirement of the open meeting law to have all meetings in a publicly accessible physical location. Further, all members of the public bodies are allowed and encouraged to participate remotely. I will introduce each speaker on the agenda. After their concluding remarks, I will invite each board member by name to provide any comment, questions, motions, and or penetrating insights. Please hold all your motions or insights until your name is called. Board members, please remember to mute your telephone or computer when you're not speaking. Please remember to speak clearly in a way that helps us capture accurate minutes. For any response, please wait until I yield the floor to you and state your name before speaking. If members wish to engage in one another in conversation, please do so through me to avoid unnecessary crosstalk. Lastly, each vote will be taken in this meeting will be conducted by a roll call vote. Thank you for your cooperation. Alrighty. First order of business, I will entertain any motions to accept the minutes of the last meeting.
So moved.
Okay, I have a motion. Do I have a second?
Second.
I have a motion and a second. Any discussion? Seeing none, I'll ask you to vote. Carolyn McDonald.
Aye.
Tim Wheeler.
Aye.
Thomas Andrew.
Aye.
Jay Teach.
Aye.
Tom Sanford. Aye. Motion carries unanimous. Thank you. The next item of business is accounting. We have a bill before us in the grand sum of $103.20 for Local IQ New England, which is for printing of public hearing notice. No, it's not the public hearing notice. It was more of the forum, right? That we had.
Says public hearing, but who knows what.
I believe that was a public hearing that was posted for the Community Preservation Act Committee.
Oh, okay.
And I have grabbed that and we voted to pay it and we've sent it to June. So if you want, you can ignore it.
Okay. If I don't have to pay the bill, then I will definitely ignore it. All righty. Thank you.
I have some other bills that I'm sure are CPAs.
Yeah.
One says Jordan's
Never
Furniture at the top.
Excellent. All righty. Do we need to take a vote on our budget? I filled out the budget request. The budget's $1,000. It's the same as last year, level funded.
Wait a minute. I was looking at this.
Go ahead.
It says here we could be getting salaries.
If you had a salary, you could get it. You don't get a salary. We can vote on your salary, a $0 sum.
What a new chairman is
Wait,
gonna
wait,
get
wait,
us
wait.
salaries.
I make a
I'll
motion.
even vote to have you have a raise of 2.5% of a zero sum.
We're gonna double Jay's salary.
There you
Let's
go.
just double it.
Why
At
don't
least,
we have a motion to pay us all salaries?
Good luck getting that through.
Yeah, right?
I'm not hearing a second.
Yeah.
All right, seriously though, we have, I just split it between advertising and other services for $1,000. Is that, do we need to take a vote on this, or is this something that you guys feel comfortable that I can just turn in and we'll be good to go?
well, I'll make a motion that we submit that budget and then you're covered,
Okay,
Put in number 11, the sick pay form. Get sick once in a while.
I'll second
again, you're gonna get
Tim's,
sick pay times a $0 sum.
yeah,
Yeah.
I'll second Tim's motion, not Jay's.
All right, we have a motion in a second. Anybody, Jay, you're very fuzzy.
Yeah, it's
I
weird.
think your computer needs glasses.
It must have something to do with the salary thing. I don't know.
The computer wants a salary. A motion in a second. Any other discussion to our budget? Seeing none, I'll ask you to vote. Carol McDonald,
Aye.
Timothy Wheeler,
Aye.
Jay Teach,
I
Thomas Andrew.
Well, first, I'd like to say that I think 2.5% times the zero salary is an insufficient adjustment for inflation today, but I'm going to vote aye on this motion. All right.
Excellent. And Tom Sanford, aye. Next item we could take up, Thomas, will be the cost of living, which should be around 7% to keep up with inflation, but still the denominator is a 0. So we're not going to get very far.
Yeah, I actually realize that.
All right, then I'll turn.
We're going to
this
get
over-
a late fee because it says here this was due by November 30th.
Yeah. Well, our secretary wasn't doing a good job getting the
Well, nobody trained me.
physical. Well,
Oh,
you
that
earned
old
a better
excuse.
salary, you might be trained better,
It
right?
wasn't in the budget, the training, right?
Right.
And then we got this reconciliation stuff. Did you do that?
No,
No.
I don't know what we spent. We spent less than our budget, so. I mean, it's $1,000, really? We have to do all. of
No,
it?
the reconciliation stuff, at least that conservation gets, we get a listing of all the accounts. And we
You
have
got
to
a
sign
listing
off
of
on it
accounts.
every month. Yeah.
Yes, we did get a listing of accounts. Yep, we did. But there's nothing in there about you spent X amount of money, blah, 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 all the way through. There was one bill that was paid, and then there was another bill that was for the Berlin's portion of the regional, Assett Regional
Housing
Solution.
collaborative.
Housing Collaborative that we joined, yes.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, we keep track of ours separate just because,
But we need a treasurer. Who's going to be the treasurer to do that?
CFO, yeah.
Jay, why are you so fuzzy?
Like that.
He was very fuzzy.
Yeah, it's like it's focusing on something on the front of the screen.
Yeah, it's right.
Look
there.
how Great my hands are, see?
Yep.
Yeah.
They're sharp and in focus. You got to put your face like right up to it.
Oh, there you
Oh.
go.
There we go.
So, excellent. All right, the next item we should take up is the fact that our fearless Jay doesn't want to participate as a CMRPC representative.
I don't mind doing it. I've just done a terrible job and I'm not seeing it getting any better.
As good as treasurer.
The you don't have to lose sleep about that. I should send around the quarterly meeting information, and then anybody on the board that wanted to participate in those quarterly meetings could. You don't have to be the delegate.
Yeah, I keep in touch intending to do that and it just conflicts with something else. And
Yeah, but I mean, that's what I should do. I should just send out the quarterly meeting notice, and then if somebody wants to sign on, let me know. That's the easy way. There'll be another quarterly meeting in January.
We could even appoint them as a delegate, when they see the agenda, if they're
Yeah.
interested. Yeah,
Right,
Well,
yeah.
Unfortunately, the selectmen are looking for a person that they can point the finger.
they
at,
want
So,
a name. I mean, I don't mind being the name. I just
You-
don't want
you-
you to think that I'm doing a great job because I'm not.
Well, I mean, most towns, small towns have a delegate and an alternate, and that's what they want you for, is the alternate. So if there
Right.
was a vote sometime and I wasn't going to be there, and it was an important vote, which seldom happens, I could let you know, and then you could make a point of trying to show up for the vote. But
I could do that. What happened to the couple of years we went to the big training conference, which we haven't. Is
yeah,
that
they're
still, or-
doing most of those online now.
Because that was great.
Have you been getting any of those emails?
I do get a bunch of correspondence from them at the planning.
It's a CPTC, Citizen Planning Training, so I can make a point of sending that around to everybody too.
And they're not doing the live thing in Worcester.
At Holy Cross, they haven't. I don't know if they're planning on doing it in, the spring next year or not. But they've been doing,
Kind of set a day aside from that, you get a lot of
yeah, you
training
do.
time.
But a lot of those sessions, or similar sessions, are being offered online.
Yeah.
Yeah, if you could send that, because I would definitely
Yeah, I'll do that.
do some classes and stuff.
In fact, I think I got one today. Maybe I'll send it right now.
Cool.
so do we press?
So
Gannon into service
isn't-
today?
Yeah, tell him he's got to serve again.
Right. Tim, aren't you the delegate though? And Jay
Tim's
is the
delegate,
alternate?
yes, they're looking for
Yeah.
an
Yeah.
alternate.
I see.
Yeah.
They want someone to be able to, I mean, technically, we get a vote, and if the delegate isn't there, the alternate can vote.
And
We
do
have to
they
vote-
meet?
We have to vote on that, my appointment, right?
Yeah,
What's it called?
you-
Delegate to CMPRC, right?
alternate to the
Alternate
delegate, yeah.
Alternate delegate, yeah.
3
So are-
workshops in December, vested rights in non-conforming structures. That's for Lynn Ryan. She's in the audience. We can send her to that one. That's Monday, the 12th. That was last week, the beginning of this week.
Never mind then.
That was yesterday. Roles and responsibilities of planning board and zoning boards. And then one on MBTA communities, which we're not an MBTA community, so we don't have to worry about that. But I will send this to you.
Excellent.
How many MBTA communities are there in Central Mass?
Quite a few, because it
Are
goes
there?
to Worcester. So the line that runs through Grafton,
Okay.
Westboro, those towns. And then the one that runs Littleton and those towns.
Yeah, out to Pittsburgh, and yeah,
Hmm, oh,
so-
yeah, okay.
All the MBTA communities have to respond to a new directive from the state,
Yep.
which requires them to come up with a plan to build a significant
yeah, that's
amount of
great.
housing
Yeah,
within half a mile of any of the MBTA stations, which, so we're in the donut hole in the center, Hudson and us and Clinton, Boylston, probably. We're not an MBTA community, but everybody around us is, so
Hmm.
they're all having to file these big plans. They don't have to follow through on it. They just have to have a plan for how they would follow through.
Well, the problem is there's no capital for it.
Even, who did I talk to today? Oh, Littleton was doing theirs.
Right, and some, I mean, like in Concord, that train station is right downtown. There's not land for a big project.
Right.
So I know that's
Oh, within a
definitely,
half a mile, yeah, I'm sure they could find something within a half a mile,
Mm,
maybe.
downtown Concord's pretty
Pretty, I
pretty
know,
spread out, spread out.
yeah.
Um,
Well, they could build something in the field beyond that bridge that they have, right?
yeah, nothing's there.
Right.
Just a bunch of tourists. Um,
All right, so do we, did anybody make a motion for Jay or,
I'll make a motion to nominate Jay as the delegate
alternate?
to alternate delegate for Central Mass Regional Planning.
You have a
I
second?
second that.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. Any discussion? Hearing none, I will ask you to vote. Tom Andrew,
Aye.
Tim Wheeler,
Aye.
Carolyn McDonald,
Aye.
Tom Sanford, aye, and Jay Teach.
Right.
Unanimous vote. Thank you.
Thank you,
All
Jay.
righty. Thank you, Jay. We are on
Thank you, Jay.
track, I think.
Do I get two separate salaries, one for that and one for being on the planning board?
You do.
Same thing. Yeah,
Yep. Same
but
salary.
two separate checks.
Great.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And we ought to press for your cost of living increase. to keep
Yeah.
up
Yep.
with inflation.
Yeah. Now that
Yeah.
you're a double dipping public servant, yes.
Yeah.
All righty. Do we have? What's that? Do we have, is it Jay, is it 7:45 that we have our
CMPRC.
CMPRC? Okay.
Is it the housing project or is it the downtown
That
project?
wasn't, well, I wasn't sure. Is it Emily or is it?
So Carrie's planning on joining us. She's in Millville. Where is she tonight? She's somewhere tonight at 7. She said, would it be all right if I call you from my car? And I said, sure. So she's not here yet. So, whenever she shows up is fine.
Okay.
But she was at a meeting at 7, so it might be a little bit longer before.
Okay. All right. So can we pivot, and is Peter in the audience?
Nope.
Yeah.
He's not. Okay. Because that was the next thing that was on the agenda was welcome to Berlin. How about can we have a discussion on the cell towers and the town's desire to give up some land for a cell tower?
Sure.
We'll take that up. What's everybody's feeling on that?
I'd like to hear from Carolyn.
So
Proposal is, yeah.
the two parcels that were sent around from, I guess it was the select board, that Verizon's looking at is Mount Pisgah and Rattlesnake Hill. All right, so Pisgah is not a choice because there's a CR on it. But Rattlesnake does not have a CR. It is town conservation land, but it does not have a CR on it. So, I responded back to Kristen and said exactly that, and that we would definitely be willing to talk to them about Rattlesnake Hill.
Okay.
Where is that?
Boylston Road, down by the Heart. If you
Road.
go to Five Corners and go straight,
Mhm.
like you're going to Clinton, that's Boylston Road. And Rattlesnake Hill is the hill that's up on the left.
Oh, yeah, okay.
It used to be a ski resort when we were young.
Really?
Yeah, Joni learned to ski there.
Wow.
Wow.
2
Wow.
rope tows.
Yep.
Rope tow, maybe. Almost seems like they had 2. But anyway,
I'm
Get an
shocked.
engine up in the woods and rope
Mhm.
tow and you'd get
Wow.
pulled up. They had a little shack where they'd sell you hot chocolate.
Yep.
Everybody parked on the street. It was a good little spot, nice place to live.
Now,
Yeah.
the question that I had when I saw this come around, we have a pretty stringent bylaw that we've developed about fall zones and everything else. And can they get that within that parcel of land?
What's a fall zone?
So we put in a fall zone, a theoretical zone that if the cell tower was erected and toppled over,
Oh, I see.
that nothing in that
Yeah.
path would be
That makes sense.
disturbed or whatever. I think
It's
it's
a,
like 700 feet, so it's significant.
and it's a, there's a lot of land up there
Is there?
that we,
Okay.
that the town
Yeah.
owns. Yeah.
Yeah.
What do we
it-
got?
it-
Didn't we figure you had over 100 acres?
Yep. No, it's like the proverbial cell tower falling in the woods. It would probably make a sound.
Yeah, to fall outside the zone, it'd have to be quite high.
Yes,
Yeah.
I would say, Caroline, that I think that's exactly what I would think in terms of doing that. That I know a decade and a half ago, we were faced with this question, and I was always in favor of the approach that you suggested, that it allows compensation to the town with a really minimal impact on the reserved land. So I think it's great.
Exactly, especially where so much of that, they don't need a lot, they don't need to clear a lot. It's fairly open in spots anyway, if I remember correctly.
Yeah, from the last times I was up there. Plus, it's basically a wood road up there, and it may actually make it a little more accessible for people who want to walk and so on. Again, with minimal impact on the environment of a 100-acre parcel.
Exactly. And I know the town has been looking for a way to increase emergency services radio communications at that end of town anyway.
At that end, okay, I was
Yeah.
gonna ask about that end of the town.
Yep.
Yep. So it kind of feels like a win all around.
See, when I got, I mean, what's the net value to the town? $25,000-$30,000 a year?
Well, if we need emergency communications coverage on that end,
That's a different
and
story, yeah.
then we would have to put up a tower of our own.
Or do not, like we have been.
Or do not, and they use their cell phones like they do now.
Exactly, right. So when I looked at it, I'm like, are we going to impact a town-owned piece of property for a minimal amount of gain? I mean, it's not like the town is desperate and we need the $25,000 or $30,000 or whatever it is. So when it first was proposed, I was sort of ambivalent about, why are we going to be doing this? Why are we seeking this? Because really we're not gaining a lot. And there seems to be a lot of impact that the town's going to have to endure. Are they going to do something to disguise it? Make it like a giant candy cane or something like that? Or I mean, we have that provision in the bylaw that they're supposed to use the latest technology to disguise it so it doesn't look like this eyesore up on the.
Do they have cloaking technology?
Stealth, yeah.
Yeah.
Stealth.
Where do
That'd
we
be
start putting up wind towers?
See, I
That's
think
because-
I love the look of a field of windmills. I think
Yeah.
it's,
Try getting close to one. They're really noisy.
yeah. As far as being able to disguise it, I think it depends on how tall it is. If it's, 200 feet tall, a 200-foot tall tree, those tend to look a little ridiculous.
Right. But we have in the bylaw the latest technology, stealth technology or cloaking technology. It's not, you don't have to make it a tree. You can make it
Right.
whatever.
No, absolutely.
Right.
Rocket
I
line.
think though that those things can be addressed in what would be site plan review.
And whose purview would that fall under?
Lynn's.
Yeah.
Congratulations, Lynn.
Do we wanna? Lynn, do
Let
you
her
want,
in.
do,
You
do
let
you
her
wanna
in, all hell's gonna
participate?
break loose, you know. She's got all sorts of things on her list tonight, I think.
Oh. All right, well,
Well,
we'll
I
allow,
think she wants to talk about the discussion that we had, which she may not be privy to in regard to Kane and the end of Bigelow.
Okay, well, let's narrow it to the cell phone, because we don't want to get off on a tangent in case
Right.
something pops up that's supposed to be on the agenda.
right.
But good evening, Lynn, how are you?
Bit of Midland.
Well, that's better than the alternative, I guess.
So you think that that tower would come to us?
I know that because it's conservation land, it would certainly first. I think it would first come to conservation. And we would have to vote. Yay or nay. But the details of it, I don't know who else would do that.
Okay,
I mean, if it was a regular proposal, not town-owned land, it would fall under us, wouldn't it?
No, not, well, does the language in that section, let me look it up. I wasn't. I thought ZBA did it, but.
well, I think
maybe.
CBA did it. What I was questioning is because it's town land, whether that would go to the select board or something.
I was under the same impression, Lynn, that it would be taken away from us and put under their purview, but
No, I guess my sense is that it might add another layer, and we would certainly want the selectmen on board on this anyway. But I don't think that it substitutes the selectmen for the ZBA in terms of determining the details of the site design. But it's, I've been off the board for a long time and I didn't study up on this question before we got on the call, so.
It's a special permit and site plan approval under section 570. And that's,
And it's allowed in the district, right?
it's allowed in the district, it's allowed in residential agricultural zones. And it's special permit required upon issuance of a special permit with site plan approval by the Board of Appeals. So I agree with Thomas, they'd have to go to conservation and the select board and get some general approval, and then they'd go to you for the specific details as to what they were gonna do to comply with the bylaw.
That makes sense to me.
So I know an email has been sent out to the man who contacted the town to begin with. So Lynn, when we have a better, once we've touched, we know when they're gonna come see us, I'll let you know.
I would have one other question, that sometimes the conversion of a use, or often the conversion of a use that is not even subject to a CR, but is conservation land, requires an act by the legislature. Have we looked at that issue with respect to this?
No, I'm gonna say no.
Okay. And I'm happy to chase that one down, but it might require a bill in the state legislature because it's been accepted as conservation land. But if it does, it does.
Right.
Could I return to what we talked about because I assume CMRPC has not joined yet, so we have some dead air here. But
Right. Peter
can I-
Hoffman is here, though.
Oh, okay. Let me just say that I think when we look at the benefits of this, I'm still not sure I understand what the annual money flow is, but I think, we need to take into account the fact that that will improve service in areas of town, and more people are working from home, et cetera. So I think that's, that's a valid consideration of the board for the people. And then I think any additional municipal use, like improving communications. I mean, we've all seen horrible situations in the press and so on when something happens and you have sort of incomplete and informal communication. So it does seem to me if there's something to be gained for the town in terms of integrating and to be able to document, with our regional center, those kind of communications, that's another significant benefit. And then I think the final benefit is, with little impact on a 100-acre parcel, the road may actually increase the ability for the public to sort of access that. We can ask them to put a little parking lot in and so on. So I think, that as we go forward and consider this, we should not just think about the money. And does anybody know what the money is at this point? No. Okay. So, but we should think about all of those things.
I agree.
All righty, can we take up Welcome to Berlin Signs and Peter,
Sure.
please?
Hello, everyone. I'm coming to you from a car. I just got done with speed patrol, so bear with me.
Hi, Peter, how are you?
Not too bad, thanks, Tom. How are you?
You got a real bad connection.
It's probably the road noise. I'll pull over. Hang on for a place for me to pull over.
Yeah, it sounds like you pulled over in the wrong place, but
Yeah.
I'm going to pull over. I'm going to look for a place to pull over. Just hang on a second.
Is your tire squealing?
Not to be mixed up with being pulled over.
Yeah.
Should be getting better.
What kind of car are you driving, Peter, for the minutes?
Yeah. Peter attended from a 1989 Ford Bronco.
That's funny. That's funny. But it is a 291,000 mile car. I'll give you that. All right, is it better? Can you hear me better?
Yeah, we can hear you better now. Thank you.
All right, I'm all yours.
Okay, I guess there was some confusion about the Welcome to Berlin signs and who was going to pay for it and and has that all been resolved? Can you
Was
let
it
us
2
know
or
about
3?
So June and Kristen are debating whether we have to buy 3 signs or 1. That continues to be a raging debate.
that?
The question was asked, I don't know who was on the distribution list, whether there's going to be any town monies for the first sign. The answer is no. The sign cost is less than the sponsorship cost. Cabela's is reviewing the agreement. They've been reviewing it for a long time after Mary and Kristen and I got together and massaged the agreement because it was a little bit aggressive. So that's where the agreement stands. The site has been marked by Jason on the EDC and myself about a year ago with a little bamboo stick and an orange flag. We've got a quote, we've got the pieces of the puzzle. We just don't have the Empire State Building built.
Okay. Is there anything you need from us?
A lobotomy would be great.
Maybe after Christmas.
Yeah,
Alright.
at least until after you get home.
Gotcha.
So Peter, why did
no.
why did it say in this email that was going around that the planning board was paying $2,000 for it?
I have no idea.
Huh.
First of all, the EDC is paying whatever we're paying with planning board and or select board approval.
Hmm.
And we're not anticipating to pay anything.
Now, can we get a bidding war between Cabela's and LLB now that they're in the mall?
We probably could.
Hmm.
We probably also could get a bidding war, and I'm joking for those of us that are listening, between Cabela's and Salmon Pond. Salmon Pond is interested. So one thing at a time, given it's about a year and a half or perhaps 2 years of machinations to get this one sign, I'm expecting the second sign will be perhaps a little faster, maybe only 1 year.
And Peter, this is the one that is going over by the community garden?
That's right.
Okay.
So
Peter, does Kristen interpret the article on the warrant as allowing for just one sign?
yes,
Yeah, because she and I spoke, and I came away from that conversation with the sense that she was comfortable with the article just providing for the one sign at this time, and then, we can deal with the future later. So,
that was my impression.
yeah. Do you want the planning board to say that we believe that the indication was for one sign? Do you want us to support that?
Sure,
I
sure.
mean, I'm
And
perfectly
if-
willing to make a
and if-
motion that we believe that one sign is all that's necessary out of that article, and that there's no need to require multiple signs as a result of that vote.
I'll second that.
Okay, we have a motion and a second that clarifies that the article was for one sign. Is there any further discussion?
Well, not for one sign, it's for multiple signs, but they don't need to be bought or processed at the same time.
Yeah,
Okay,
So one sign at a time.
one sign at a time.
Yeah,
One
that-
or more, we could have done 3 at a time.
right. But the fact that they want to move forward with just one at this time is satisfactory. It's within the scope of the article as far as we're concerned.
And we're voting on the one sign, and you'll come to us again for the second and third signs, right? Is that what I
Well, we're
understand
gonna
what
come
we're
to
doing?
you, we're gonna actually come to you for the first sign, once all the pieces of the puzzle are in place for your blessing.
Right, no, I meant in this respect of getting a recommendation to go forward.
I don't think we need a second and third recommendation, because I think the first one clarifies the question.
Good.
Okay,
Any additional insight or discussion?
If if somebody on the board could drop me an email confirming the vote, that would be great.
Our highly paid secretary. will
Secretary
take
can
care
do
of
it, sure.
Okay, somebody state the motion in a sentence.
that. Let's see. I move that we indicate to the town administrator that the planning board feels that the
Motion,
erection of one sign at this time sufficiently complies with the warrant article's intent.
I'll second that.
okay. We've got a clarification motion and a second. And I'm not going to ask for any further discussion because I think we've beat it to death. but I will ask you to vote. Carol McDonald,
Aye.
Jay Teach,
Aye.
Tim Wheeler,
Aye.
Thomas Andrew,
Aye.
and Tom Sanford, aye. Motion carries unanimous. And we will drop an email to you, Peter, and we should be able to put this to bed.
Thank you very much. Any questions, other questions I can answer for the board?
I think we're all set. Does anybody have any questions for Peter?
How old and what kind of car actually is it?
2007 BMW, 291,000 miles.
There you go.
All
I'm
righty.
just breaking it in.
Yeah, exactly.
Hey, I have a 2001 VW Golf that has 285,000 miles on it. So hooray for German engineering.
That's right.
There you go.
All right.
There you go. On that brilliant note, I wish you all a good evening and thank you for having me.
Thank you,
Thank you,
Peter.
Peter.
Good night, Peter.
So long.
Okay, is our
No,
CMPRC representative in the audience?
No,
No.
and I've checked my email and she hasn't emailed me, and I apologize to Thomas. Both emails I sent to everybody went through to everybody but Thomas. Thomas is kicked back.
Well, I'll send you my email again, but no problem. What was the, I'm sorry, what was the topic that we were going to discuss with her?
Carrie's coming to talk about the forum that we're going to do on the 9th, 12th, 13th. What is it? I forget.
all
Our
night.
next meeting is the 10th.
The 10th, yeah.
On what topic? Sorry.
Yes.
Center Village study.
Okay.
We're putting together a mailing list that includes everybody within the circle,
Mm-hmm.
which goes down Pleasant to Stanley's, probably goes down south to Agers, goes out Linden to Larry Sawyer, probably goes West Street through to McKelk. Well, Carter Street, all of Carter, Olive Oak,
Gotcha.
Walnut to past McKay's, and then up Highland to Evie or something like that, probably.
Okay.
And then we've identified the businesses which I that are in the center, and we'll send them a invitation too. So it's quite a few people, actually. It's probably up over 100 households.
All right. Well, that's actually wonderful, because I've been trying to kickstart the committee at FPC, but because of the small size of the congregation and holidays and memorial services and so on, I haven't been able to get people together. But with that going out, it may help me to get that group together to prepare things before the 10th of January.
Yeah, she's going to pick up the labels from me tomorrow, and I would think that they'd get mailed, next week. So
No,
everybody
perfect.
will have it in due time. I mean, people have plenty of notice.
So
Yeah.
obviously a portion of which is during the holidays, but that's still good.
And that meeting will take place at the Old Town Hall.
Yeah, we've reserved that, and I think given the number of people we're inviting, it's probably a good idea, because it could be a pretty good turnout if the weather's bad.
And we had
Mhm.
said that we wanted it for 7, right?
I think that's what we said. Yeah.
Yeah.
I'll
Okay.
check.
Well,
Yeah. I have 7 o'clock.
Okay. I won't check.
I would like to suggest that I wouldn't mind posting a 20-minute meeting for next week or something to deal with this if she's not here, and just have it be that, because I think it is good that we talk to her before the holidays and get a
I'll
sense
email.
for what's happening. So,
I'll email her right now and just check in with her to see if
okay.
she's planning on
Yeah.
still coming in.
And of course, I'm speaking only for myself, that I'd be willing to do it some other night and have a relatively short meeting to focus on that, because it's an important meeting.
Depending on the night, I can make it or not. Tuesday and Wednesday, I have something, but other than that, next week, I am available.
Okay. Well, I could certainly do the Thursday. Or the Monday is available too, right?
Yes.
That might be better because it's a little further away from the
It's,
holiday.
yeah, it's Martin Luther King Day, if that, anybody has big plans. for
No, I'm
the-
sorry. I
Oh,
thought we
no.
were talking about December
December.
for,
Oh, was I
You're in the
looking at the
wrong
wrong month?
We're in the
yeah,
wrong
yeah.
month.
I'm like,
Oops, all
oh.
right, hold on. Yes.
I hope, yeah, I was
Uh,
thinking, I hope everybody had a Merry Christmas then.
Right.
Even though I don't seem to remember it.
So you had a really good Christmas.
Too much eggnog.
Yeah,
All
no,
right then.
so our next meeting after tonight is actually the 27th. Yeah, second, well, second and
Yeah.
fourth.
No, no, no. We always have one meeting in December.
Yeah, we
all
don't have
right.
another meeting.
Well,
I
good.
think what I was
I'm gonna-
suggesting was we move it up to maybe Monday of next week, if she isn't available, and limit it to like a half an hour just to talk about this topic. And that's just my suggestion.
Okay. Yeah, I just next Wednesday, I have conservation and that actually may be canceled because we keep getting cancellations.
All right.
So,
So I think the suggestion is maybe Monday on the table, and while we're waiting to see if she can join us tonight, can we run around to see if Monday at 7:30 for maybe half an hour tops would work?
This is Monday, the 19th.
Yes.
Yeah, I've got an appointment then.
Do you have availability other than that evening, or do you have availability at 7 for like 15 minutes? I don't think
well,
it's going to take very long.
If I can find a substitute to take my spot playing paddle tennis, otherwise I get in big trouble for not showing up, but I might be able to.
All
I
right.
mean, I can do as early as 5:30. What time do you paddle your tennis?
Usually 6, but it's in Weston. It's half an hour away.
5. Can you do 5?
You do it from the car.
I
Well,
can do it from the car.
Uh,
Oh, but I can't open the meeting from the car, I
No,
don't
not
think.
you. Jay can do it from the car.
Is Tuesday night better for people?
I can do Tuesday.
I can do
Monday's
Tuesday.
trickier.
yeah, me too.
Okay, so let's think about 7:30 on Tuesday. And again, I'm just trying to tee it up while we have dead air here and we're waiting. Why don't we say 7:30 Tuesday and make it a half an hour meeting just to discuss the January meeting?
Works for me.
I think I'd almost rather have that because it's an important meeting, and she's been to another meeting tonight and she's in her car. It may not be a BMW and she may not. Anyway. All right. So I think we've decided that we have a plan B, which is to meet at 7:30 next Tuesday for half an hour to discuss just this issue. Is that fair?
Fair.
Okay. All right.
Yeah, we have, so someone needs to get us a Zoom channel.
Well, we'll have to post the meeting. So it has to be
Right.
posted before
Yeah.
Thursday.
Leanne,
Mhm.
does that.
Say that, what, Jay?
Leanne has to post the meetings because she has to get a Zoom link.
Yep.
from somebody in the select board office. There's a special secret handshake you have to do and stuff.
Mm,
So do you want me to contact Leanne tomorrow?
Yeah.
Okay,
yeah, that'd be great.
Right, and she can reserve it. Well, I mean, at the rate we're going, we probably will use it. But if we
Mhm.
don't, if we don't use it, we don't use it. It
right,
isn't,
Yeah, as long
don't
as there
think there's
aren't
gonna
two
be-
other meetings going on at the same time, because there's only
Right.
two panels that we have.
well,
And I don't
There-
think it's gonna be heavy use the week before Christmas, so I'm not
Yeah,
too
right.
worried about that.
right.
Is Tim on? Has he heard from CMRPC?
he's on mute
Mm.
right now. You're on mute, Tim.
I sent her an email and I called her and I left a message.
Were you able to follow what we were talking about while you were doing that?
Yeah, so
Okay.
next week would be fine with me and I can get in touch with her if we don't hear from her.
Yeah, it just seems like it's not a good night to do it.
I'm gonna go back and look at her email to me. Can I ask a question while I'm doing that?
Yeah,
Okay.
Carl Wickstrom sent me an email asking whether his sign approval for a temporary sign continued through renovation to the sign. So he wants to probably repaint them or replace them with something, but it's going to be the same sign that he has for his seasonal operation in those areas that we allowed him to put it up. And he wants to know if he has to get new approval from us to fix the sign essentially. And I thought probably we'd be fine with him just as long as he keeps it the same sign, just continuing on with the approval he's already got. But
yeah,
Agreed.
I think an approval includes normal maintenance and or replacement of components of the sign. Absolutely. Yeah.
Agreed. Agreed.
Do we need to take a vote on that? I don't think we necessarily do, but
I don't think it's necessary.
no, and I'll reach out to him and let him know that that's the case. So
Anything else on the agenda?
That's it for the agenda unless we have a timely item.
well, I think the timely item might be Lynn's interest in chatting with
Okay.
us about the conversation we had with Kathy about
Thanks.
the,
Mhm.
because I think she may have some
Insight.
insight.
Is
And it'd be
Lynn
good for us to
available?
be on the same page. We can let her
Yeah.
know what we talked to them about.
Okay.
Here she comes. There she is.
sorry, who is this? Oh, Lynn.
Lynn Ryan.
Do you really want to get into this, Tim?
Tim, you muted.
We can tell you about the conversation we had.
Okay, couple of things. She withdrew everything. She withdrew all 3 requests.
Correct.
Right.
I have to admit, I kind of badgered her agent into doing it because she was saying that she was going to have an R&D facility come in and rent that property.
Correct.
And, the talking to the building inspector, he would consider it, I think there's 5 classifications for parking. And he would consider R&D other. The building is 92,000 square feet that she's looking to put up. Other requires, and in fact, from the wording, I don't even know if we could give her a variance from this. A minimum of 1 parking space for every 200 square feet.
Ooh.
So now she would need over 400 parking spaces.
Yeah, we're talking mall. Yeah,
So I just asked Tim, as our liaison, which you are, you know, Tim, if you feel that you want to take a look at maybe some gaps in the parking. It doesn't mention R&D, it doesn't, there's just a handful of specific things it mentioned. The other thing he mentioned, Carolyn, that and it was at the meeting, her architect or whatever he is that he wanted to go ahead with the parking in front of the building, which maybe you guys want to take another look at that. And he said that, you know, maybe they could do like on the other side of the wetland, a reserve parking area.
Right.
So that would go back to you guys. That would go back to conservation. Right?
I would imagine, I know that originally several years ago, when they wanted to do the crossing for the well and septic, we denied it, and so they have a superseding order from DEP, but I imagine
Yeah.
any additional crossing would have to come back to us.
yeah, I think that's exactly right. Yes.
Yep. The peer review was done, of the NOI as it stands, and they definitely have the longest page of comments from a peer reviewer I've ever seen, back with some other issues, including the way they've done the crossing to begin with. It was supposed to be a bridge, and they just dumped a bunch of dirt in the wetlands and culvert, and so they've got some issues there. I don't see how they keep the building that size.
Well,
with
right
the-
now, we have nothing in front of us, but I strongly suspect that they will be coming back. And in the meantime, I just thought that when I mentioned to Tim, taking a look at what would you say for parking for any of the other types of things that could go in, i.e. R&D? Would you want, you know, that kind of 1 space for every 200 square feet? Or would you want more, or would you want less?
Yep. I
Um,
think, Lynn, I think that's a great point. And it occurred to me when we talked about this site at a previous meeting that given remote working and so on, and given the fact that some uses are space intensive, but personnel not so much, we need to really look at the parking for some of those others. And that's a matter of amending the zoning law. But I think, and I can't think of any other way to address what you're suggesting, but I think it's something we do need to look at.
One other thing that came up, in another vein, Mr. Santos over on Old Central Street has withdrawn, we refused his petition, mostly because he didn't have anything from conservation and he had nothing from the Board of Health. And I think he was intending, from my discussion with him, to put this car dealership for 10 cars or 12 cars or whatever, without any water and sewer. So I told him, before you come back to us, you need to have a letter from conservation, which they got. And you need to have a letter from Board of Health. And I called Mr. McCalk and asked him what he thought about, could he get away without having potable water and a septic system? And he said, quite frankly, he didn't know. So I think, that's a question out there too. There isn't room enough on the property for him to put water and sewer there. He also originally wanted to put up, well, he started with a trailer, and then I just pointed him to where it says in the bylaw that, we don't do that. Then he said, well, he'd put up a shed, and it's my understanding that the building commissioner told him that a shed is an accessory building, and in order to have an accessory building, it'd have to have a main building. And I think Al Roseberry, our plumbing inspector, is of the opinion that even if he's there by himself, a porta potty won't cut it. So there's nothing in the bylaw about requiring people to have toilet facilities, is there?
Not to my, I assume that's a Board of Health issue.
Yeah, I was going back through the index cards of the zoning bylaw, and I can't think of anything either, Tim. It does seem to be a Board of Health issue.
It may be a state issue too.
Yeah.
Totally.
But it's something we have to explore. Thank you, folks.
Thank
Thanks,
you.
Lynn.
Happy holidays, Lynn.
Thank you, Ren.
All right.
I just heard from Carrie, so we're texting right now.
Okay. It would be really great if she could make herself available at the time we all agreed to, which is 7:30 next Tuesday. And do please tell her we probably won't keep her more than probably 10 or 15 minutes.
Right, unless she's got more than that to talk about.
Yeah, unless she does, yes.
Yeah.
Yep.
In the meantime, while that correspondence is going on, is there anything else anybody has to add?
I'll just say happy holidays. It's great to be on the board with you guys.
It's
Thank
great
you.
to have you.
Yes. And happy holidays to you as well.
Thank
We'll
you.
Do it all over again next Tuesday.
That's okay. That's okay.
The Central Mass Regional Planning Commission held a forum at the Westboro Fish and Game headquarters and on trails, and came away from that. She said, that would be great. Thank you. We were locked out of the building here, so the meeting got started very late. Could you put Emily on the agenda? Also, so that's a good, says that's fine. I said next Tuesday, so
That's great.
that will work.
Awesome.
And Emily too.
Yep.
And since this is a gratuitous meeting, let's keep the agenda perhaps to that unless there's some compelling emergency.
Right.
So you had a meeting about trails?
You think I can do two things at once here?
Oh, sorry. I thought you were doing Facebook under the table there.
Facebook, yeah.
She was tweeting.
It's not traditional for me to text, so
I was,
Oh.
when you said you were texting, I'm like, oh, Tim, you text?
You know what,
I don't
Tim-
text. And
Tim?
but
you-
I did.
You know what I call it? I call it speaking in sums.
Yeah.
And I'm really bad at it.
Oh, man. I watch people with their two thumbs and I think, oh my God,
Yeah.
Yeah.
This
I'm
is-
there going, and then my fingers hit and I think, how can this happen? But anyway,
Or it
Yeah.
auto corrects to something that you didn't want to
Right,
say.
Yeah, yeah. Always proofread before you hit send.
oh,
Absolutely.
definitely,
Oh, ho, ho, ho.
twice.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So they held this forum and they oversubscribed. I mean, they couldn't handle all the people that wanted to come. They had 50, so they're going to do it again. And Carolyn and I talked about this the other day. And so they will reschedule, and I'll let everybody know. I think Carolyn probably wants to attend, but after that meeting, Carrie ran into one of the selectmen from Northborough, and he said he was interested in having a discussion with Berlin, Westboro, and Northborough representatives about the use of the aqueduct from Westboro through Berlin as a trail. And so I said, why don't, if she'd be willing to host that, it would be something that I think we'd be interested in having a discussion with, I said after the first of the year. So she'll probably be in touch with us about that. And I thought that was helpful. There's, we've got to get squared away as to what we want to do. We've got this Solomon Pond proposal to extend the Assabet Rail Trail out of Hudson to Solomon Pond, and they're talking about trying to get to River Bridge. And then they implied, maybe there's a way to get across Whitney to the aqueduct. And, that Carrie said frequently when the Central Mass Rail Trail comes up, the conversation begins to focus on, what about Berlin? Because we're the missing link, essentially, because on the other side of Wachusett, there's a significant trail network that this could connect with. And of course, east of us, there's quite a network. So, but I just said, I thought it would help if the commission could come and work with us to try to strategize some new approaches. So she said she'd be willing to help with that. And then the other question was the Regional Planning Commission, Central Mass, is hiring housing, a person that's going to try to focus on housing as their main responsibility. And as part of that, let me see if I can dig that one up too. There it is. So CMRPC was recently successful with a community compact efficiency and regionalization grant to cover the year one expenses of a regional housing coordinator. And this concept was workshopped with the towns of Shrewsbury, Grafton, and Mendon to add dedicated on-site municipal capacity to implement housing production plans, staff affordable housing committees, trusts, and assist with other housing related tasks for each community. We still have capacity for at least one more interested community, and I'm reaching out. They're reaching out to CPA towns, which aren't too many actually. In Central Mass, we're, of the commission's 40 towns, there may only be 10 of us that are CPA towns. First, because we were hoping to serve communities that could dedicate local funds to continue this program after year one. And I've attached a draft job description. So I just wanted to throw that out on the table for us to think about. I'm going to get in touch with Connor at the commission and just say, what's the response from other towns? They're just looking for one. So if there's a lot of towns, we're already in a relationship with the Assabet Regional Housing Collaborative, and they help maintain our subsidized housing inventory. So it's not like we need assistance with that. And that's right now the most important ingredient of the whole thing. If we can get the housing trust populated, then they could begin to expend some of that CPA money, but whether
Right.
they at some point be interested in working with Central Mass is hard to tell at this stage, but I wanted you guys to be aware of what's going on anyway.
How many
'Cause
more
housing is
members?
important to us. What?
How many more members do you need for the housing trust to get that going?
Right now, I think I've got 3 people, so I really need 2 more, and I haven't talked to people for 5 or 6 weeks, so I'm not, people may have drifted away too. I may have lost some. But I figured I'd get active with that over the next little bit and try to pin that down so the selectmen could appoint the crew by the second week of January or so. Because that CPA money is there. Eloise has managed to squirrel away a significant sum over the years from some of the mitigation money that we've gotten, and we're not able to expend it because we don't have the vehicle. But the Assabet Housing Collaborative met this afternoon, and I was, so I'm the rep for the town, so I was sitting in on that, and some of these towns are just doing great stuff with rental assistance programs and first-time home buyer stuff. And there was Boxborough today was saying what is out there for possible support for people in affordable units that or housing that need some sort of assistance to, put on a new roof or, fix, plumbing or whatever, because they don't have the wherewithal and the house is beginning to deteriorate around them. And people had a number of different options that were being applied in other communities. So I thought, well, again, there's plenty of opportunity once we have that trust going. So if people have ideas about names, that would be great. But I think I've got 3 now, so I need a couple more. That's all I have.
Awesome.
So 7 Tuesday, right?
7:30.
7:30.
Okay, 7:30. And you're taking care of posting that.
I will take care of contacting Leanne tomorrow.
And I'll talk to Carrie tomorrow because she's going to stop by and pick up the labels. So I'll square that away with her.
Awesome.
There he is.
Here I am. I hesitate to record my face for very long in these meetings, so
I thought you were telling yourself a joke that you were laughing at, but maybe that was it. Yeah.
yeah. Anyway,
Good.
Would you like a motion to adjourn?
Sure.
I make a motion to adjourn.
Do we have a
Second.
second?
Watch out for that beast beside you, Carolyn.
As it
Yeah.
was
Yeah, I
pointed
know.
out-
My
as it was-
attack cap.
Yeah,
As it was pointed out the last meeting, this isn't debatable, so I will ask you to vote. Carolyn McDonald,
Aye.
Timothy Wheeler,
Aye.
Jay Teach.
I think this is going to be the earliest adjournment in my tenure. Aye.
Thomas Andrew
aye.
and Tom Sanford, aye.